The Rise and Fall of the Dinosaurs, Part 1, The World Before the Giants. 66 million years ago, the Earth changed forever. A mountain-sized asteroid slammed into our planet with the force of more than 10 billion nuclear bombs. Within days, forests burned across continents. Tsunamis, hundreds of feet tall, crashed into coastlines. The sky turned black, temperatures plummeted, and nearly 3/4 of all species disappeared. The dinosaurs, the rulers of Earth for over 160 million years, were gone. But here's the real mystery. How did these incredible animals become the most successful land creatures in Earth's history? And if they were so dominant, how could they disappear almost overnight? To answer that question, we have to travel back, not 66 million years, but more than 250 million years into the past. Chapter 1, A World After the Greatest Disaster. Long before dinosaurs existed, Earth experienced the deadliest mass extinction in its history. Around 252 million years ago, at the end of the Permian period, enormous volcanic eruptions in what is now Siberia released unimaginable amounts of carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere. Global temperatures skyrocketed. The oceans became acidic and lost much of their oxygen. Forests vanished. Food chains collapsed. Scientists estimate that nearly 90% of marine species and around 70% of land vertebrates disappeared. Life on Earth came closer to complete annihilation than ever before. For millions of years, the planet looked almost alien. The once thriving ecosystems had become barren landscapes where only the toughest survivors endured. Yet history has shown that after every catastrophe, life finds a way. Chapter 2, The Dawn of the Dinosaurs. About 20 million years later, during the Triassic period, Earth's climate was hot, dry, and unpredictable. All of the continents were still joined together into one gigantic supercontinent called Pangaea. There were vast deserts stretching for thousands of miles. Seasonal monsoons flooded enormous regions. Temperatures swung between scorching days and cool nights. It wasn't an easy world to survive in. But hidden among many strange reptiles was a small group of animals that would eventually reshape life on Earth forever. The earliest dinosaurs. Contrary to popular belief, the first dinosaurs were not gigantic monsters. They were surprisingly small. Many stood only about the size of a dog or a turkey. They walked on 2 legs. They were lightweight, fast, and incredibly efficient. Instead of relying on brute strength, they relied on speed, agility, and endurance. These traits would soon become their greatest advantage. Chapter 3, Why Dinosaurs Won. At first, dinosaurs were not the rulers of Earth. They lived alongside crocodile-like reptiles, giant amphibians, and many other competitors. For millions of years, they remained only a small part of Earth's ecosystems. Then, everything changed. Around 201 million years ago, another mass extinction struck. Although not as catastrophic as the Great Dying, this event wiped out many of the dinosaurs' biggest competitors. Scientists believe that massive volcanic eruptions associated with the breakup of Pangaea filled the atmosphere with greenhouse gases, triggering rapid climate change. Many dominant reptiles disappeared. Dinosaurs survived. And this time, they didn't just survive, they took over. Within only a few million years, dinosaurs spread across nearly every continent on Earth. They evolved into hundreds of different species. Some became towering plant eaters, weighing more than 50 tons. Others became swift hunters, capable of chasing prey at incredible speeds. Tiny feathered dinosaurs climbed trees. Massive long-necked giants crossed ancient floodplains. The age of dinosaurs had begun, and it would last for the next 165 million years, far longer than humans have existed. But the greatest days of the dinosaurs were still ahead. By the beginning of the Jurassic period, around 201 million years ago, dinosaurs had become the undisputed rulers of the land. But something remarkable was happening beneath their feet. The supercontinent Pangaea was slowly breaking apart. Massive rifts split the land into separate continents, creating thousands of miles of new coastlines, rivers, forests, and wetlands. These changing environments opened countless new ecological niches, and evolution responded. Dinosaurs diversified at an astonishing pace. Some species evolved into colossal herbivores, with necks longer than school buses. Creatures like Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus could reach over 80 feet in length, browsing on treetops that no other animals could reach. To support such enormous bodies, their bones became surprisingly lightweight, filled with air pockets similar to those found in modern birds. These giants consumed hundreds of pounds of vegetation every single day, shaping entire ecosystems simply by feeding. Where massive plant eaters thrived, predators soon followed. One of the most formidable hunters of the Jurassic was Allosaurus. Unlike later Tyrannosaurs, Allosaurus relied less on raw bite force and more on speed, sharp claws, and powerful jaws lined with serrated teeth designed to slice through flesh. It hunted some of the largest animals ever to walk the earth. Yet despite their fearsome appearance, dinosaurs were far more sophisticated than the old image of slow, dim-witted reptiles. Recent discoveries reveal that many species grew rapidly, cared for their young, and may even have lived in complex social groups. Some traveled in herds for protection. Others built nests and guarded their eggs. Fossilized nesting grounds show evidence that adults return to the same breeding sites year after year, behavior strikingly similar to many modern birds. In fact, birds aren't simply descendants of dinosaurs. They are dinosaurs. Every pigeon in a city park, every eagle soaring above a mountain, every hummingbird outside a window is part of the only dinosaur lineage that survived to the present day. Chapter 5: The Cretaceous World. Around 145 million years ago, Earth entered the Cretaceous period. This would become the final and perhaps greatest chapter of dinosaur history. The continents continued drifting toward their modern positions. Sea levels rose dramatically, flooding vast portions of the continents and creating warm inland seas. The climate was one of the warmest in Earth's history. There were no permanent polar ice caps. Dense forests stretched toward the poles, where dinosaurs lived in regions that experienced months of darkness every year. Meanwhile, flowering plants appeared for the first time. Before this moment, landscapes had been dominated by ferns, cycads, and conifers. Now colorful flowers spread rapidly across the planet. With them came new insects, including early bees and butterflies. These new ecosystems fueled another evolutionary explosion. Horned dinosaurs like Triceratops evolved powerful defensive weapons. Armored dinosaurs such as Ankylosaurus developed bodies covered in bony plates and massive tail clubs capable of breaking bones with a single swing. Duck-billed dinosaurs formed enormous herds, numbering in the thousands. Meanwhile, predators became more specialized than ever before, and among them, one species would become the most famous dinosaur of all. Chapter 6: The King Arrives. About 68 million years ago, near the very end of the age of dinosaurs, a new predator dominated western North America: Tyrannosaurus rex. Standing nearly 13 feet tall at the hips and stretching over 40 feet long, T-Rex possessed one of the most powerful bite forces ever measured in any land animal. Its jaws could crush bone with ease. Its teeth, some over 8 inches long, were not designed like knives. They functioned more like railroad spikes, capable of puncturing deep into flesh and shattering skeletons. For decades, scientists imagined Tyrannosaurus as a slow-moving scavenger. Today, the evidence paints a different picture. It had exceptional vision, a highly developed sense of smell, excellent hearing, and powerful leg muscles that made it an active predator, even if it wasn't built for extreme speed. It was the apex predator of its ecosystem. For millions of years, it seemed nothing on Earth could challenge the dinosaurs. But while they ruled the planet, something else was already on its way. A piece of rock, traveling through space for millions of years, was about to change the course of life's history forever. Chapter 7: The Asteroid. For more than 165 million years, dinosaurs had survived volcanic eruptions, shifting continents, changing climates, and countless evolutionary challenges. Nothing on Earth had been able to overthrow them. But their greatest enemy wasn't on Earth. It was falling from space. About 66 million years ago, an asteroid roughly 10 kilometers, 6 miles, across entered Earth's atmosphere at a speed of nearly 20 kilometers per second, more than 45,000 miles per hour. It struck what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. The impact released energy equivalent to billions of atomic bombs. In less than a second, the asteroid excavated a crater nearly 180 kilometers, 110 miles, wide. Everything within hundreds of miles was instantly vaporized. A gigantic fireball spread across the landscape. Earthquakes stronger than anything ever recorded shook the planet. Mega tsunamis, hundreds of feet high, raced across the oceans. Molten rock blasted into space before raining back down through the atmosphere. As these fragments re-entered, they heated the air around the globe. For a brief period, much of Earth's surface may have become hot enough to ignite forests on multiple continents almost simultaneously. Smoke and ash filled the sky. Dust from the impact blocked sunlight for months, perhaps even years. Without sunlight, photosynthesis nearly stopped. Plants began to die. Herbivores soon followed. Then the predators. The collapse spread through the food chain like falling dominoes. The age of dinosaurs was ending. Chapter 8. Why some survived, yet not everything disappeared. Small mammals survived. Crocodiles survived. Turtles survived. Many amphibians survived. And one extraordinary group of dinosaurs endured: the birds. Why them? Scientists believe several factors worked in their favor. Most surviving birds were small. They required far less food than giant dinosaurs. Some could eat seeds, one of the few food sources that remained available after forests collapsed. Others were capable of flying long distances in search of shelter and resources. Their rapid reproduction also helped populations recover once conditions improved. Meanwhile, mammals, small, mostly nocturnal creatures that had spent millions of years living in the shadows of dinosaurs, began expanding into ecological roles that had suddenly become vacant. Within a few million years, they evolved into larger and more diverse forms. Eventually, some returned to the oceans as whales. Others took to the skies as bats. Still others evolved into primates, and much later, one branch of those primates would begin asking questions about the giants that came before them. Final chapter: the legacy of the dinosaurs. Today, when most people think of dinosaurs, they imagine failure. After all, they went extinct. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Dinosaurs dominated Earth for over 165 million years. To put that into perspective, modern humans have existed for only about 300,000 years. That means dinosaurs ruled our planet for more than 500 times longer than our own species has existed. Even now, they have never truly disappeared. Every robin singing at sunrise, every eagle soaring above a mountain, every penguin crossing Antarctic ice is living proof that dinosaurs are still with us. Their story is not just one of extinction, it's a story of resilience, of adaptation, of evolution, and of how life can recover even after unimaginable catastrophe. The next time you hear birds singing outside your window, remember this: you're not listening to the echoes of a lost world. You're listening to the last living dinosaurs. The age of dinosaurs may have ended 66 million years ago, but their legacy continues every single day. And perhaps the greatest lesson they left behind is this: no species rules the earth forever. Because in the history of our planet, change is the only thing that never goes extinct.